Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences suggests that there are 8 or 9 kinds of intelligences that a human could have. An individual might have strengths or weaknesses in one or more of the areas.
The first intelligence is logical mathematical. The text defines this by having the sensitivity to and capacity to discern logical or numerical patterns, ability to handle long chains of reasoning. This means that if a student is logically or mathematically intelligent, math makes sense to them and they enjoy working with numbers. They also enjoy things that they can reason. Next intelligence is musical. The text defines this one as having the ability to appreciate and produce rhythm, tone, pitch, and timbre, the appreciation of forms of musical expression. Students that are musically smart really thrive in music class or with activities that require song and dance. The next intelligence is linguistic. The text defines this one as having the sensitivity to sounds, rhythms, and word meaning, having the sensitivity to different functions of language. I, for example, am a linguistic learner. Writing papers comes super easily for me, and I love to read books. So will your students. The next intelligence is spatial. The text defines this one as having the ability to perceive the visual and spatial world accurately, the ability to perform transformations on those perceptions. For example, an architect would be really strong in the spatial category. Kids with a spatial intelligence are really good at geometry. They can see the shapes and they can see how they work. The next intelligence is interpersonal. This is having the ability to read the moods and motivations of others, the ability to understand desires and needs of others and respond effectively. These are your kids that are extroverts, or the ones that are super empathetic. They can put themselves in other people's shoes and know what they're feeling. They are people. On the other hand, the intrapersonal intelligence is the knowledge of your own strengths, weaknesses, capabilities, and needs, and ability to use these to guide your own behavior. It's the access to your own feelings. Ideally, we want all of our students to be intelligent in this area. We all need to be in tune to how we're feeling and what our strengths and weaknesses are. The next intelligence is naturalist or naturalistic. This is the ability to recognize plants and animals, the ability to use categories and systems to understand the natural world. Kids like this love the great outdoors. They love finding plants and animals outside. They're the kids that bring in lizards from recess. The next intelligence is bodily kinesthetic. That's the ability to control bodily movements and know where your body is in space. The ability to handle objects skillfully. These kids are typically athletic. They like sports, they like to move, they know how to move. The last intelligence that doesn't really apply to education is existential. It's the ability to consider and examine deeper or larger questions about human existence and meaning of life. The ability to understand religious and spiritual ideas.
With the knowledge of all these intelligences, teachers can better know their students, their learning modalities, their styles, and in turn be better and able to teach them effectively in the classroom.
So today, we're going to be learning about 3D shapes. This is a square, but also known as a cube when it's 3D, and this is a triangle or a pyramid prism.
Hi, I'm a visual learner, and I learn best seeing directions on the board and examples of images also on the board. I study best by making flashcards and writing down keywords and key points of the topic, and I also take a lot of notes during class. In this scenario, this word square and triangle really helped me seeing that on the board, and also seeing the example of a square and triangle on the board. Today, class, we are going to be learning about 2D shapes and 3D shapes. Now, some examples of 2D shapes are squares, triangles, rhombuses, and trapezoids. We're going to turn those shapes into three-dimensional shapes, which means they have mass and they take up space on like a table or a coffee table. So if we turn a square, which is a 2D shape, into a three-dimensional shape called a cube, and it has 6 sides, do you know of an example of this?
Like playing dice.
Like playing dice, that is a very good example.
I am an auditory learner. I learn best through actively listening and through conversation. I don't find notes or reading from a textbook terribly effective for my learning. This scenario was helpful to me because I was able to absorb the information given to me as well as respond to the questions.
Today in class, we are going to be using our base 10 blocks, and this will help us learn ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. So this is our 1,000 cue. You want to touch it and look at it?
Yes.
Get a feel for the amount. So this 1,000 block is broke down into 100, and we have 10 blocks to make it up. So 10 of these makes one side of this block. And you can further break that down to 10 single cubes. Now these 10 single cubes are equivalent to this one 10 rod in your hand.
I'm a kinesthetic learner, and with kinesthetic learning, I learn best by touching and manipulating various objects in order to learn the lesson. I also learn best by moving around the classroom during the lesson. And in this certain scenario, in order to grasp the concept of ones, tens, and hundreds, it was best for me to learn when I was able to manipulate the base 10 blocks.